increasing your life force. Let's have a yarn. Welcome, Jar of Marble dwellers and Jar of Marble curious. Come on in. My name is Linda. I'm Bob. Okay, let's go. You know when you know what you're doing, where you're going, you've got that old direction thing happening, there's not much can push you over, you feel inspired, you're on fire and you're focused. It's a great feeling. I love that feeling. I only know really how much I love that feeling or sensation is when I sort of look back on it. Then you get to live it a bit more objectively. That feeling of vitality is a force in itself, isn't it? It's like a welcome visitor, much like if you haven't giggled for a while and the next thing you're laughing heartily with the full awareness that you're actually laughing again. Do you know what I mean? I tend to have quite a bit of laughter in my life. I'm a bit of a clown, spontaneous. I surprise myself quite a bit. And I like to do spur of the moment things like do a weird hairstyle and wait till someone notices. You know, fun stuff. I just like having fun. I was a young mum at 23 and going through the motions a lot of the time, as us mums do, as I navigated my baby's sleeping times and waking hours and running a business at the same time whose hours, interestingly, did not really align with my baby's hours. So we, baby and me, learnt how to combine both because in reality, what choice do any of us mums have, especially if you're also running your own business? So I'm sure I did a good job. I had always thought that I did. Everyone has grown up, they're alive, they haven't set themselves on fire and making their own decisions, setting their lives, and living their lives rather. So the rest is up to them and the rest of my life is up to me. It's a lovely place to get to know not only did you show up for your family, you did for you too, as best as you could. We all have tough times and good times, and fairly good idea it is to love yourself, be proud of yourself for all of it, just for all of it. Yep, I reckon. Yep, good. Yeah. Thank you, so okay. Stop it. Now that I'm in my 60s, I still have that power pack inside me, that drive, that energy. I love writing and putting this podcast together, and it's fun. It is fun. It is, Bob, and wonderfully challenging and quite different to anything that I thought I would be doing. Like most of us, I guess, I didn't know that I would be or could be passionate about tech and writing and talking about various subjects. And honestly, in all honesty, I would have said that I didn't really have that much to say about anything. Oh, surely you dressed for dressed? Oh, shut up, Bob. So this is my point and was my question. I was asking myself, what am I to be passionate about now? What can I do that I'd enjoy that would give me the feeling of increasing my life force? I simply don't have it in me to give up because the first thing that comes to mind, or am I ready to just stop and do a whole lot of nothing? And I have to say no, as I still feel energised. And for those of us or anyone you know who is an energetic person, you'll know what I'm talking about. I know what you're talking about. I know too. I just couldn't think of a thing that aroused any interest in me. I didn't think anything of substance was going to happen. I worried that I had my fill. Anyway, I'm a bit impatient. I wanted to feel like my eyes were being opened as though for the first time, possibly be challenged and find something new. After years of being self-employed and also working for others, I can see clearly in hindsight that old 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, whatever, is just a life sucker and is not inspiring and working within parameters that has little to do with creativity. When there is no creativity, there are a few companies that are star companies for that reason, and there's only a few. I could see clearly how the ones I was working for could improve substantially by ending the old paradigm of working whether you're well or sick, do as I say and not as I do, by instilling fear in employees, by allowing bullying to happen. That was so ordinary to watch that in play every week, just watching people being pulled apart. Very weak-minded people, and if you stuck up for them, then next thing you know, you were the focus, and it was just like so pathetic. But the only power they had was they paid the wages. Outside of that, they were just really, what would I say, a waste of skin, and that is being kind. That's right. That's right. For all those that have had to stick up for themselves and work, really. I remember those sorts. I see them as skid marks, Bob. Anywho, regrets I may or may not have a few. Do you? You know what, Bob? For the longest time, I can honestly say I never had any. I just didn't. Then one day, I had a look at a few occurrences in my life that I hadn't really thought of one way or another, mainly because they were painful and I was busy raising 3 kids. I was a single parent and single in every sense of the word. So I stopped to have a look at some of it. What? You stopped for a minute? Shut up, Bob. Then I realised that I actually did have some regrets and it really hit hard. Oh, that sounds hard. Yeah, harder than I thought actually, Bob. Then I had to accept, and I did. Mostly time had just got away. Like when you're in a car, say on the highway, and the cars are speeding by one after the other, and say each car represents a frame in life, just passing by, vroom, vroom. You have a better understanding of what had transpired. Hindsight, you got it, Bob. And you may have liked to have handled things in a different way or not show up at all, but the time's gone, the time has passed, and you're never going to be going that way again. None of it can be changed, but I noticed I had changed. I would handle things much differently had I had the head on my shoulders I have now, but that is not the case. But it did give me pause to simply own all of it. I had looked at what were supposed to be my regrets, and once peeled back and had light shone all over them, it turned out that they were mainly others' bad behaviours that I had navigated while raising my children and myself. And that's why I write. It has been my way of having conversations that I felt I couldn't have with anyone, that I could read what I'd written, see the words, and sometimes gasp a little to myself at my inner truths. And so it seems I do have a bit to say after all. And with age, I find that writing helps me to make sense of my life. And in turn, my hope is that this helps in some small way to help make sense of yours. It helps me understand from my perspective why I hadn't seen something that was right under my nose, or I hadn't said more, or why I hadn't said more. Writing has helped me to develop myself, which can I say is murderously slow, but at the very least I can see improvement, and I'm a little bit impatient. So is that like watching paint dry? You know what? You're right, Bob. We have to live in our own heads, right? So doing nothing may be highly attractive to some, or they think that it's attractive. Well, I like a mix of a few things. But being busy to me feels like being productive, and it really feels really good. Don't get me wrong, I love me a good relaxation too, but being committed to projects, it feels like I have my own deadlines, and it feels healthy, and it feels like I've got a good grassroots hold of my own life. Without it, I've tried to imagine having nothing to do, and I could really stream my life to do very little of anything if I actually wanted, but that thought just feels rubbish to me. I can't actually think of anything worse. And now, anything I do now, I have created. Point being, I'm not waiting for anything to materialise. It kind of doesn't happen. So action is important. No matter what happens in life, whether it's good or bad, it happens for a reason, and it's up to us to figure out that reason and learn from it. It's often a slow process and usually quite painful. We have all the time in the world to learn what we need to learn. We all get to walk through the shadow of death, endure hardships. This is how we humans grow. No one can do it for us, and we have to do it for ourselves. All the more reason to be kind to ourselves. We are all here for a reason and have potential to grow and learn from life's lessons. And when we know that we have learnt one of those lessons, it is sweet and it feels really steadying, I feel. So I can now live a chunk of it on my own terms for long enough. Means I have a big say in how I navigate my life. I've been accused of having ADHD, and it definitely was said as a criticism, as if it was a bad thing. But it was said because of what I do in a day, of what I can achieve in a day. Sometimes you know for sure that life is undefeatable. You have to go as far as you can and maybe a little bit more, which of course is not ADHD. I am active and I do finish my tasks. I'm not easily distracted, and I don't have trouble remembering things. And I think someone just learned a new word and tried it out on me. That's what I reckon. I think so too. Me too, Bob. My life is interesting, and I can share what I do, which I love to do, whether it's bake a cake or make some relish or pick a bunch of flowers for you from my garden. Maybe I wrote a song for you because, your mother died, or maybe I wrote a poem to express my sadness about being betrayed, or maybe you were betrayed, or I found a meditation that helps raise brain energy. Then there's the quiet hours, rubbing the dried oregano leaves from the stick so I can, have some potent oregano for cooking that I might have put in my homemade bread with sunflower seeds. Oh, I love that bread. I know you do, Bob, with fresh butter and avocado. Oh, yeah. There are many, many products going on around the garden and in the home. I'm usually drying petals from flowers at different times, put in jars and make pretty with string and whatever is, hanging around to have that moment of loving the gift of flowers. Flowers from my daughter's wedding, are still in, the jar, and they just look beautiful, and they just remind me of that day, and it was a really wonderful day. I think when a lot has been taken away from you, you can have a heightened sense of gratitude and you treasure everything. I like making rosemary water fresh from the garden for my hair and for my daughter's hair and scalp health, and it's marvellous stuff. My eldest daughter loves it for her beautiful hair, and that alone is motivation for me to make it for her and for my hair. And mine. That's right, Bob. So as I do all of my activities, there is this feeling of feeding my soul, of increasing my life force. Hashtag increasing your life force. Many of us, me included, discovered any ability by chance or because someone you respected told you had something special going on. Has that happened to you? It has happened to me a little bit in my life, and I'm so grateful for those times because I honestly just wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have thought twice about most things that I've done in my life. Do you know that the most expensive toilet in the world costs $19 million? I actually do recall reading that recently. It was something to do with the International Space Station, wasn't it? Yes, it's the most expensive toilet in the world. It has a toilet that is designed to recycle urine into drinking water, which is one of the reasons why it's so expensive. Yeah, and doesn't it also feature leg braces so the astronauts don't float away when dropping the kids off to the pool? Yes, that's right. And monarchs used to have personal butt wipers. Oh, I did. I remember seeing that in a documentary, and it was considered to be quite a coveted job, where if you got to wipe the monarch's backside, that was, one of the best jobs you could ever have. Anywho, Bob, what's with the toilet humour? Well, I'm just doing a project on the history of toilets and I just had to share. Well, can I just say thanks, Bob? That was very kind of you. I must say it's not the first time I've gone to the bathroom in the night, and obviously too many scary movies. I've been scared that a snake would come out of the toilet and just bite me on the bum. Well, funny you should say. 2016, a python emerged from a toilet and bit a man on his penis. Oh, really? Both man and python survived the ordeal. Oh, well, Bob, that was fascinating. Really? Yeah, it seemed to sort of just come out of nowhere. I have a joke. Okay, well, let's have it. What's brown and sticky? Oh, a turd? No, a stick. That's a good one, Bob. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're all right. That's all right. Hashtag increasing your life force. Do you have a hobby? Is there something you do that when you do it, you just feel peaceful? You feel like some other part of your brain is opened up, creating your own materials for your activities, such as journals, drawings, or poems. That can make it so personal and a little bit special. I like doing that. Do you, Bob? I didn't know that. Yeah, well, I don't tell you everything. Clearly you don't, Bob. Increasing our life force has a whole lot to do with our happiness factor, as in, where we position ourselves within ourselves, how we feel about our happiness, as in how often do you think about your own happiness from the standpoint of choosing mindfully to go after, to mindfully seeking your happiness. That is, if happiness is what you'd like to be having, a lot more of. I think a part of our narrative to ourselves is based on the happy ever after we were fed by way of fairy tales, and the Brady Bunch, for the dwellers born in the 90s, you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but we believed those stories. But just quickly, the Brady Bunch, an American sitcom that aired from 1969 through to 1974, the series revolves around a large blended family of 6 children with 3 boys and 3 girls. And of course, this is now common and everyday normal for so many of us. Blended families is very, very normal. So the Brady Bunch it was a favourite show as a kid, and it was very polite, and there was always a happy ending, and I mean always. And they always also looked spick and span, hair perfect, bedrooms immaculate, and not a blade of grass out of place.
Well, that's a nice exploration of negative space.
Oh, shut up, Bob. Interestingly, none of us have noticed that till way after the fact, but we were into the pretendiness of it all. That's what we were fed on TV and indirectly, that life held perfect, happy endings. So it, compared to my life and others, no one I knew actually lived like that, impossible standard to aspire to. Mind you, none of us knew that life wasn't like that. How many people ask you if you're happy? We say, how are you? But are we actually asking that? We're just shooting the breeze, really. I have asked that question, and it turns out that people don't actually know how to answer it. It's kind of interesting. I found their answers to be really vague, as in, oh, yeah, I'm a happy camper, or it's complicated, or I suppose so. And one great response was, what kind of question's that? So it got me thinking, is it really that hard to aspire to having, or is it really hard a question to answer? More importantly, we don't seem to know what happiness is or what makes us individually happy. If someone is asking me what kind of question it is to being asked about if they're happy, man, what does that say? So then it got me thinking about our life force and what does it take for us to feel like we have purpose. Many, it is their career and only their career, and it is a prison of sorts, as life has to be on hold until work life ends or slows down or you drop dead. I don't know. So it just got me thinking, like, it can be tricky to be selfish about your happiness, finding out what are your happiness stakes, like your personal investment in your life. What is it that enables you to feel your life force running out ahead of you, keeping a nice rhythm and staying close enough that you can feel the energy of it? Spending time alone can help you recharge and reflect on your thoughts and feelings. You can use this time to do things that make you happy, such as reading, writing, or taking a walk, or doing nothing. I don't know. I found this way of spending my time so rejuvenating to my life force. Practicing self-care is so very important, like life-changing, hugely important. Taking care of yourself is essential for your well-being, and in any little way that you can implement it in your life makes such a difference. And any success that I've had or have, firstly, when I say success in this scenario, really at just feeling really peaceful within my own person, the epoch of your own sanity, and further to that, happiness.
What do you get when you put a brown chicken and a brown cow together?
Tell me.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
You know what? That's not too bad.
Yeah, I thought so. Thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, no, thank you, Bob. You can practice self-care by eating healthy, getting enough sleep, and maybe you've been thinking about eating more fruit. I don't know, like grab an apple, grab some berries, something. Exercising regularly. They're just, you hear this a million times over, but there's so many of us just don't do it. And I know this from just conversations I have, say, after I've been to the gym and I'm about to go and have a coffee, and someone goes, oh, God, what time did you go to the gym this morning? I say, I was there at 6:30. Oh, I'm too tired to be going to the gym, and it's like, well, that's the whole point. If you go to the gym, you stop feeling tired. It starts off that way, very much so, but it doesn't last for long. And in the end, you just are addicted to feeling bright and shiny about life. And remembering too, it is very fair to say that it's okay to feel disconnected from time to time. But taking these steps, you can really reconnect with yourself and your life and feel more in step with yourself. Time out is my go-to. And you know what? I've just got to give myself a bit of applause there. Oh, yeah, that's right. Time out. Oh, geez. I disappear to a cottage on a decent-sized property, and it is disconnected from the internet. It has basic provisions, as in a frying pan and some outdated oven, but it works beautifully. Basic bedding, very old TV with a DVD player. I know, you heard right. It is actually a DVD player. No internet, remember? So I just love it for those reasons. And so there lies the reset. There lies the increase for me of my life force. Getting to the beach is another awesome way to just ground your bare feet on the sand. Maybe swim if you have no fears of being ripped apart and gobbled up by a shark.
Oh, that's terrible.
I know, but I take that very seriously. I have thought if I have ever thought that I wasn't enough, I just remembered that little me would probably feel safe with the person that I am today.
Oh, I like that.
I know. Me too, Bob. I don't know, but that just feels like enough. I'm proud of my fight. Then past all that, I'm committed to being interested in my life force. And isn't it amazing when you are in the company of someone who is operating from a higher plane, when they are inspiring and full of good energy? It's a buzz. That's what it is, and I just love being around it. And we can assume that they know and are told that all the time. But I love to tell someone that I love their energy, that I love their energy. Obviously, I just said that, but I like to repeat myself sometimes anyway. I don't think I put the correct emphasis on what I was trying to say. But, that sort of thing, when someone has given me that compliment, they go, wow, you're always happy, or you seem to be happy, whatever, it just makes my day. And I think kindness is a plus to be extended and beyond. You could be making someone's day without a doubt. Okay, so it is that time again. It is. And I'd like to thank you as always for coming by, because it just makes my day.
And mine.
That's for sure, Bob.
Okay, so tell your friends. Go and tell people that even you don't like.
Tell them what, Bob?
About us here at the Jar of Marbles.
Oh, okay, Bob. That's a nice thought, and thank you.
Is that right?
So hashtag increasing your life force. It is an inside job. Look after you. Self-care is never being selfish. So we're off and away. Say good day to the family for me and give the raccoon a poodle.
A poodle?
That's right, Bob. And we'll see you next time, okay? All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.